This conference will now be recorded.
All right, guys, I'm going to get started. So I'm sure a few more people probably join in as we go, but welcome back again this is the final week of our webinar series. So today is just going to be a live Q&A. So if you guys have any questions, put them in the chat box or feel free to unmute yourself and ask them if you guys have a microphone as well. As always, my name's Alex. I'm a sales and technical consultant at Advanced Spatial Technologies. We're a Bluebeam Platinum partner for the Australian New Zealand region, as well as Autodesk partner, Beam Backup Software, FM Systems Master Reseller, do Dropbox for Business and GoFMX as well. And then on the hardware side of things, we are resellers for Dell, HP and Lenovo, and we have a training and professional service division in CAD West Bureau. As always as well, where you can find some help in the software, always feel free to send me an email. I've had actually quite a few people coming to me, which is really good to see, guys. So any questions you have, feel free to reach out. Give us a call, 1300 672 888. And inside the software, you can find it in the help and help menu, and then the launch review tutorials. So yeah, like I said, guys, today is just a Q&A. So if you have any questions, either drop them in the chat box or feel free to unmute yourself. I've also got a few questions that have been sent in from people that I'll go through as well. I'm going to post this up on YouTube after, so you can go back and have a look at them again if you need to as well. But let's get started, guys. So has anyone here, before I go into some of the already asked ones, has anyone got any questions they'd like me to answer first? All right, so I guess I'll go into a couple of the ones that were sent in before we start. So the first one I had was actually to do with document comparison. So I'm actually just going to close these that I opened and reopen some other ones. So someone asked me how they compare drawings. This is actually something that I should have gone through during the sessions, but I forgot to. So we will go through it today. So basically, what I've got here, oh, hang on, let's just close these. Some different ones, sorry. Give me 2 seconds. All right, so we've got 2 drawings here. Basically, one's a revision of the other. And it's just gone crazy. Oh, so we've got an original drawing and then we've got a revision that has a few different changes. So there's 2 different ways we can compare drawings in here. So go to document and then compare documents. And the trick with this as well is to have whichever one is the original document as your active drawing, so that when you go into here, document, compare documents, it picks up the active drawing as document A and then the second drawing as document B. In here as well, you can manually align them, so you can select a window or you can pick points. So let's say you've got one drawing that's A1, one that's A3. You can pick points on each one so that you can align the different points so it matches them so that they're the right size. Quite often as well, you get drawings where the content's just moved up a centimetre on the page or down a little bit or to the side a little bit. So it's good to, you'll find that if they're not aligned, it goes a bit crazy. So you can pick the points and align them if you need to. And then also down here, we've got other options. So it's going to open them up in split screen view, and then it's going to synchronize. So if I zoom on one, it will zoom on the other. I'm just going to hit OK for now. And basically all it does is bring up the second one with all of the differences from the first one clouded. So anything that's been added is clouded in red. Anything that's been taken away is also clouded in red. So it's nice and easy. You can see quite easily what's changed. Once you zoom in, you can see that that wasn't there before. We've got all these new rooms added, some doors added and stuff like that. And then we've also got these flags that have been taken out as well. The cool thing about this one as well is all of those clouds go into the markup list and they're subjected as a difference. So from here, you can generate a report of the markup summary. So go to PDF summary and then append and hyperlink to current PDF and hit OK. Takes a couple of seconds to process. Cool, so then it comes up in here and we've got basically a report of all of the differences that we could send off to someone. Let's say the project manager wants a report of what's changed in the drawings, or just the boss wants to see what's happened. You can send a really simple report. If you click it, it hyperlinks to where it is in the drawing as well. So that's one way of comparing documents. The next one is through the overlay function. So once we go back into here, the same thing, keep the active drawing as the first one. You go to document again, and this time overlay pages. This one, basically what it's going to do is put one drawing in one layer in red, one drawing in another layer in green, and then it will put them on top of each other, and you'll see what's not in the second drawing as red, what's in the second drawing that wasn't in the first as green, and then whatever's the same will go on top of each other as black. I recommend, you can change these colors, but I recommend to leave them as red and green by default, because it's much easier to see the differences. If you change, let's say, the green to blue, it's really difficult to see the difference between blue and purple once they go on top of each other. So unless you're colorblind and you can't see red and greens, then probably leave it as those. You can also add more drawings in here if you need to as well. So you can compare as many as you want with this function. But yeah, in this application, I'm just going to use these two. Same thing, you can also align points through here. So you hit align points, and it'll ask you to pick 3 points, and it'll put the drawings on top of each other so that they match again. But hit OK, and you'll see whatever is in the second drawing that wasn't in the first is now green. Whatever's in the second drawing, it's not in the second drawing that was in the first is red. And everything that's the same on top of each other is just black. One thing to note, this is quite a handy tool. If you do the first function, the compare documents, and you get clouds everywhere and you can't see any, it's impossible to see any differences. Quite often, sometimes the drawings are a little bit different quality. And if you go into overlay, you tend to see that the lines are just slightly not where they're supposed to be. So it's a good way of checking whether your drawings are matching up, and then you can use the pick points if they're not as well. So, but yeah, you can also go from here into the layers panel, and you can see they're in different layers. So I can turn off the first one, or I can turn off the second one as well. So I can just see each one. And then yeah, so that's one good way. The only thing with this is it doesn't give you a report of all of the differences. So you'd have to manually do that yourself if you wanted to. Or just use you could then use the compare documents function against the original again, and you get a cloud of all of those. So that's the two ways of comparing documents, guys. So has anyone else got some more questions for me that we can answer? Or I go into some more that we sent in.
Hey, Alex, could you go through the reuse tools again?
Yeah, sure. Just give me 1 sec. I'm just reopening Bluebeam. It went a little bit crazy for a second there. All right, so yeah, Ty just asked about the reuse function. So as a sort of standard, when you open up Bluebeam, this doesn't come turned on. There's 2 different ways you can turn it on, but normally if I go to user tools, so let's just say I go to draw a cloud. When I click on the cloud, I can draw my cloud, but then as soon as I finish the cloud, the tool is no longer active, so I can't just keep drawing them. So the reused tools function, you go into review and then preferences, and then it's under tools and markup, and then you've got the reuse tools function here as well. So you turn that one on, and then we just hit OK. And now if I go to draw my cloud, I can just keep drawing them until I decide I don't want to anymore, and then just to get out of the tool, you just hit escape. So the idea is if you're reusing particular tools quite regularly. Let's say you're dropping symbols onto a drawing. You obviously don't want to have to go back and click that symbol every single time you have to do it. You want to be able to just continue dropping them and putting them as you need to. So that reuse tools allows you to do that. The other one that was really good to note in there as well, under review and preferences, is the auto size text box and call out markups. So if you turn that one on, what it will do, so let's say I draw a text box now and I draw it really, really big, for example, and then I just write my text goes here, and then hit escape. The text box auto sizes to the size of my text for me, so I don't have to go in and adjust it and that kind of stuff. Just going back to the reuse tools as well, the other way you can turn it on and off is just through the status bar down the bottom here. If you don't have that turned on, it's just tools and then toolbars and status bar. It doesn't come turned on by default, but it's quite a helpful thing to have turned on. So this one here with the little kind of blue symbol on it is the reuse markup tools. So you can toggle that on and off through there as well, depending on what you're doing. So yeah, that's the reuse tools, guys. Who's next with a question? Right, I've got a couple more that have been sent in that I can go through as well. Let me just see which one should I go through first. So,
hi Alex, can you show how to calibrate again?
Sorry, what was that, Lim?
Can you show how to calibrate the drawing again?
Yeah, not a problem. So that's quite an easy process. I'm just going to go to this one. So obviously most drawings you get will have some sort of scale or a measurement on them. You hope so anyway, as long as they're drawn to scale. So when we do want to do this, so with Review 2019, it will auto prompt you to set a scale if there's no scale set on your drawings. But if you want to check it anyway, you just go to the measurements panel and then hit calibrate. Well, there's two options here. So you can actually just set a preset scale. So let's say you've got 1 to 100 or 1 to 50 or whatever it is, you can set it through there. Or you can do a custom scale and we go to hit calibrate and it'll ask us to select 2 points of a known dimension to calibrate measurement tools. So hit OK. I've got two options here. I can use my measurement up the top here. I can use my scale down the bottom here. The trick with this is just to use something that's as long as possible. The longer it is, the more accurate your scale will be. So I can see that this is 5 meters. So I'm just going to go 5,000 millimeters. And then you can also set a precision in here. So you can set how many decimal places your measurements will go to. And then also a page range. So let's say you've got a 50-page document and you know the scale is the same on all of those pages. You can set it to all your pages, or you can just set it to your current page. But I'm just going to set it to the current page and hit apply scale. So now I know that that drawing is scaled. I can also just double check it. So I know that this measurement here is 3282. So I can just draw a line across here and double check that my scale is right. So that's close. Apparently that scale down the bottom isn't quite accurate, but we've got 3281.13. So if you want to get it even closer, we can try using this measurement. It's probably going to be a little bit more accurate than that scale down the bottom. So we go 3282, that scale. One thing to note, if you set your scale and then you realize that it's incorrect, so let's say we set it and we go back and realize, oh, the measurement was actually different to what I input in there. You can just hit calibrate again. Even if you've done heaps of measurements, you can just hit calibrate again, recalibrate, and it will automatically recalculate all of those measurements for you. So now that I've done it off here, we should see that this is correct now. So yeah, 3282. And there we go. That's calibrating for measurements, guys. Anyone else have any questions? So one question we did have was just to do with counting and using the visual search again. So I think we went through this in one of them, but I'll just go through it quickly again. So let me just open up something. Not this side. Cool. So basically, there's a couple of different ways that you can count things. So it really depends on the quality of your drawing of which one you use as well. Oh, sorry, just saw a question in the chat box from Constantina. So what if the horizontal scale is different than vertical scale? Good question. So in this measurements panel, there's a button just underneath the where the scale is set there, which has separate vertical scale. So in here, then you now have an option to set an X scale and a Y scale. So your horizontal would be your X scale and your vertical would be your Y scale. So yeah, you just hit that separate vertical scale button and then you can set different scales in there. Cool, but for now I'm just going to unselect that. All right, so going back to that searching. So yeah, for this it really depends on quality of your drawing, how it sort of appears, and how good quality the symbols are and sort of how they're drawn as well to kind of how you do this. So under the measurements panel there is a counting tool. So it's just this one here, it looks like a tally. You hit that and you just click over whatever you're trying to count. So let's say we're counting these chairs, and you just click them all until you get it. Obviously it's quite a manual process, it can take some time. You have to visually find them all as well. It's probably not completely accurate, it tends to be. So I know my eyes are pretty bad, so most people tend to have that same sort of issue. So what we have is the visual search function. So under visual, it's search, and then you hit visual here, and you go to get rectangle. The trick with doing this is to find one that has no interference with it. So we've got this chair that's just in open space here, and then you just draw a box around it as close as you can to it. Again, the closer it is, the more results you will pick up. There's a few different settings, so you can toggle how you want to search. So you can either search the current document, the current page. So I'm just going to search the current page today. You can also search all open documents, or you can search through a whole folder, or just through your recents if you want to. But let's say we've got a whole folder of documents that we need to search for a particular item in. You can do that without having them open as well. Just go through and find them through the file path. And then you can also adjust the sensitivity. So the lower the sensitivity is, the more results you pick up. You can search for multiple rotations. So obviously we've got different rotations of these chairs. We want to leave that on. You can filter by color. So let's say we snapshotted some, changed the color of it so we can see what we've added. You can filter by color and just pick up the ones that you've added. You also have to have search markups on for that. And you can search for fine detail. So if you wanted to pick up like ones that have a particular line across them, then you could do that. But in general, you pick up more results if you have that turned off. So you just hit search up the top here, and it goes through, searches through the drawing and tries to find as many as it can. And you'll see it's down the bottom, it's telling me it's picked up 16 results. And I can select them all through here and just hit this little lightning bolt option here, which is the check options. And there's a few different things you can do. You can highlight them, underline them, all that kind of stuff. Usually if you're using text, that's probably what you would do. Or you can apply a count measurement to check. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm just going to hit tick there. And you'll see it's gone through and ticked all of the chairs for me. I know, because I've done this quite a few times, that there is 16 chairs in this drawing. Sometimes it only picks up 15, so it's really good to have a quick look through and just see whether there's any more. If it picks up something that you didn't want in there, you just right click over the tick and you can split the count, and it splits this one off. So now it's just got this one selected, so I can delete this one off. And then the rest of my count is still normal. If you find it hasn't picked up all of the results and there's still a couple remaining that you can see in the drawing, you just right click and go to resume count and add it in there, and it will then become a part of the group again. So yeah, that's visual searching to count, guys. Quite a useful tool. It isn't perfect, like I say. You've kind of got to play around with it, and it really depends on the quality of your drawing, quality of your symbols. It depends on how much interference there is with the symbols as well. So. Anyone else got any questions? So I've got one more that got sent in just in regards to 3D PDFs. So someone asked what you can do with 3D PDFs in Bluebeam, what its functionality is. So let me just open one up. This is the last one I got sent in. So if anyone else has any to ask after this, feel free, that'd be great. So it just takes a couple of seconds to load because it's a 3D model. It's a little bit of a bigger file. Just give it a couple of seconds. So with 3D PDFs, it's quite a basic kind of functionality, but there's some cool markup kind of stuff that you can do, that kind of sort of thing. So this here is just a basic kind of drawing of our office here in Perth. So you can click and drag it around. You can sort of navigate around it. You see the back side. Through here, we've got some windows on this side, so you can actually scroll in. You can see in through the windows there. I can turn this around and sort of just navigate around it. You can also transform this. So if you hit the transform button here, and then select an element, which is the roof here, you can hit this arrow and pull it up. And you can then do it with the inner roof as well. So now I can actually see inside. I could do that a bit higher if I wanted to. Down the bottom here as well, in the 3D model tree, so where the markups list is, there's also an option for a 3D model tree, and you can search through it here. So search, say, doors, for example, and it highlights all of the doors for me. And you could select a particular one. You could copy that, and then open a new PDF. If you just want a drawing of a particular element, you can paste that into here. That didn't work, hang on. Where are we? It's going a bit crazy on me at the moment. Let's try that again. Just let it reload again. 2 seconds. All right, cool. So let's just transform it again. Crazy. Pull those roofs up. Let's just search for the doors. So let's say we want to copy this. Let's copy this one here. So right click, and we're just going to copy. Open a new PDF. And paste. And it just asks us to draw the 3D window. So we draw it and hit OK. Give it a couple of seconds. It's not playing ball today, it should copy that across anyway. And it's not really liking my 3D PDFs today. Let's just reopen. I'll show you what else you can do with it other than that anyway. But when I do that, it should copy that door across. You could then send that as the particular item to someone, put markups on it, whatever you need to do. From here as well, so we can transform this again. You can also do markups. So let's say we zoom into a particular spot in here. Let's go into this office here. We can draw in here, we can do a cloud and say review defects in this office, for example. And then I hit escape out of here. It goes out of my markup view and this little blue dot appears. So if I play around with it, then if I hit this blue dot, it brings me back to that view that I was in when I put that markup on, so it doesn't sort of lose its positioning as well. You just hit escape again. But yeah, that's pretty much the limitation of it. You can also show a cross-section box, so you can move in here, show section box. You should be able to move this from here. There we go. So you can sort of section it, look around, see what's inside from that section. So yeah, there's quite a range of things you can do in there. But you can't do measurements or anything like that. It'll only let you do basic sort of markups. It's hard to measure off a 3D PDF. You can also change how it appears in its view, whether it's a wireframe or whatever you want to do. So yeah, that's 3D PDFs, guys. But before we finish up, does anyone else have any questions? This is your last chance to ask them, so feel free to unmute yourself if you want to, or just drop it in the chat box and we'll get to it quickly before we finish up. All right, guys, it seems like it's pretty much it. So yeah, thank you very much for jumping on it again today and for answering some questions. Most were ones that were sent in, but we had a couple asked in here, which is good. Just my last thing before we go. So keep an eye out on our YouTube channel. You guys all should have been sent out some links at some stage for the different the webinar playlist and that kind of stuff. But in the coming weeks, we're going to be releasing some tips and tricks videos just straight on YouTube. So keep an eye out for them. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of them. The link for the YouTube channel is just there as well. I will just copy and paste that into the chat box so that you guys can copy it down if you want to nice and easily. But yeah, that's our YouTube channel there. There's a few more videos other than just the webinars as well that we've gone through in the past, so feel free to check those out. There's some Autodesk stuff in there as well. But yeah, thank you very much for joining us over the last 10 weeks, guys. It's been really good to hear your questions and hopefully solve some problems. Again, feel free to reach out to me at any time if you need some help. It's alex@advancedspatial.com.au. And yeah, if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them and jump on and give you guys a walkthrough if we need to as well. So, but yeah, thank you again for attending, guys, and I hope you learned a lot. And yeah, keep an eye on YouTube for some more tips and tricks coming soon. No problem, Konstantinos. Thank you very much for coming.